Missing someone. Love with all your heart. Missing someone.
What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lauren for those of you guys who are new, and I go by Locks by Lauren on Instagram. Today I'm going to be tackling this color correction. This one was a little intimidating when I first saw it because of this white band right in the middle of her hair. And the way that she got this, she said that she used a bleach kit that she got on Amazon. I believe it was like a Manic Panic bleach kit, and it came with 40 volume. So she bleached her hair with 40 volume at home to like retouch her roots. And yeah, so when I first saw her, I wasn't really sure what we were going to do. I told her I needed to see her hair in person, how it was feeling, and then from there we were going to decide our game plan. So when we were talking about her hair through text, I originally said that I was going to be lightening up the bands and kind of just getting her canvas a little bit more even and lightening up her roots. But after seeing her hair in person, I asked her if her hair felt gummy or anything like that when it was wet, and she said that it did feel a little bit gummy here behind the back of her head. So I decided that we weren't gonna bleach the roots at all because of this white band. You have to be very, very careful because you could cause breakage if you overlap. So I opted to do more of a shadow root to kind of blend out the color at the top, but the ends here, they are darker than that mid band, and for sure I felt like I should probably lighten them up so that it could look a little bit better, because her hair would look a lot better if the ends were lighter as well. So for her shadow root formula, I'm going to be using 5-1 from Pulp-Ride's Factionate with some 6-Vol, and I will be mixing this 1-2. The reason why I decided to choose Factionate over any of the other colors was because I wanted some longevity and I needed some good pigment out of this. I feel like using the Factionate line as a Demi permanent by mixing and adding more developer gives me a longer lasting shadow root compared to like a liquid Demi or another color. So I wanted to use the permanent color line and create a Demi permanent by doubling up my developer, and this was going to create a nice ashy root shade that would cancel out all the warmth, and then I was going to blend it in to the rest of the blonde a little bit. And then for her ends, I'm going to be mixing up the new Pulp-Ride Cream Bleach with some 20-Vol, and then I'm going to be adding in some Olaplex to ensure that we don't have any breakage. Sometimes Olaplex will kind of weaken the lightener, so this kind of acts more so of like a 10 volume with the cream bleach. And the reason why I chose the cream bleach over like the Blonde AF or the clay lightener is because it is super gentle on the hair, and I needed something that would stay moist too. I like the consistency of the cream bleach a lot because it's very gentle, yet it stays put and it lightens pretty well in my opinion. So I'm going to be mixing this 1-2 with the 20 volume and then mixing in some Olaplex as well to ensure some healthy hair. So here I am mixing up the Factionate root formula, which is 5-1, and I doubled it up with the 6 volume. I'm applying it all the way onto the roots and covering the entire yellow band that you see there and just dragging it ever so slightly down into the lighter blonde. The reason why I chose 5-1 for her formula was because I wanted something dark enough to blend in with her natural and would look good against the blonde. And the reason why I chose the Ash series is because I figured we were going to try and make this color as ashy as possible so that this toner could last her as long as possible until her next appointment, where we'll probably readdress and maybe lighten up everything, maybe like the roots and the ends, depending on whatever her hair can really take at that point. But I just wanted to kind of add something that was ashy. So here I'm going in with my cream bleach lightener, and I'm literally just tapping the orange pieces. She said when she applied the lightener at home, she just kind of like applied it everywhere. She wasn't really making sure that things were even. So the bands of where it's really orange on the ends are pretty random, so I'm just kind of balayaging over and painting where I feel like it's orange. I'm not really worried about the pieces that are more so of like yellow or like a level 8. I'm really worried about the pieces that are more so a level 7 and below, because those really stand out, and when I go into tone at the end, I don't want to see those warm spots. So I'm just hitting the pieces that are really warm because I don't want to overlap into any of that level 10 blonde that she has in the middle. I want to make sure that we ensure the safety and health of her hair during this appointment, because her hair is fragile, but we are still lightening it, but in a very gentle way. And after I'm done applying the lightener onto the really orange pieces, I'm going to just process this at room temperature, whatever she was. I didn't put her under the dryer at all. I just kind of let it sit, and every 10 minutes I came back to check on her, making sure that her hair felt good and nothing funky was happening with the lightener or anything like that. And I let this process probably for about like 30 minutes maximum until it was ready. They did lighten pretty fast, even though we used some Olaplex and 20 vol. So here is what the root color looked like as it was done processing, and her ends were done lifting past that level 7 and into more so of like a level 8 and 9. So I started to take out her foils, and after that I kind of did a slight soap cap on where her root is. I didn't add soap though, I just kind of like sprinkled some water onto her root, and so I'm just kind of dragging the root color down just a little bit, like the residual of it. I'm not completely washing it out just yet. I want it to kind of drag down and blend a little bit more, because this root color was a level 5 and her banding right below it is a level 10, so I wanted something that would give a really nice transition. So I kind of just dragged it down with some water, and I probably should be wearing gloves, but so excuse my hands, but yeah, I just left this on for a few minutes until I felt like it kind of toned a little bit more so where the level 5 root shade met the blonde. And then after I was done, I went ahead and toned everything later. But here you can see I don't have anything on the ends, and this is kind of like what it looked like before I washed it out and left that extra root smudge process on her hair. And here you can see her ends are pretty much even. I wouldn't say it's completely even yet, but definitely all of that orange banding is almost gone. And I let this process for about like maybe a few minutes until I like shook up some toner, and I'm going to be applying the toner just directly on top of this because I don't really need to rinse it out just yet, because remember the root shade was just technically like a Demi permanent on the top here. So here I am mixing up her end formula, which is 9.1 and 9.2 from the liquid Demi line, and I started to apply this in the back. And I just like to apply in sections and make sure that I'm really saturating and going through everything and getting everything even. So I just applied this really quickly, and I really love the liquid Demis because I feel like it's very conditioning compared to any of the toners or Demi lines that I've used in the past. I feel like every time I put it on my client's hair, I'm able to brush out the hair after it's on, which is really rare because I mean, I don't know if for you guys, but for me at least, whenever I tone hair, I feel like it just gets more tangled once you put toner on. But with the liquid Demis from Pulp Riot is complete opposite. It feels like it's more moisturized with the toner on, so I'm able to like really brush the hair and make sure that I'm like getting the color pretty evenly all over. And so I'm just working in that toner. And again, this formula is 9-1 and 9-2, and I opted to do a level 9 because there are some of like spots that are a little bit warmer, and I was okay with it getting a little bit gray as long as we canceled out like most of the warmth. And here you can see the 9-1 and 9-2 really working and canceling out all of that yellow on her ends. And this is kind of what the hair looked like once the color was on. I probably let this process for about 10 minutes before I rinse it out, but I watched it and made sure that a lot of the warmth was canceled out before I washed it. And I just really love watching these toners work because I feel like they work a little bit quickly, and it's just amazing watching the toner ash everything out and cancel out all of that yellowness in her hair. And again, her root shade is still on her hair. I haven't rinsed it out completely. I just kind of dragged it down and then applied the liquid Demi formula right on top and let this sit completely until the lighter formula was completely done processing before I rinsed everything out. Alrighty guys, so here is the finished look from this color correction. It came out a lot better than I had imagined or thought that it would, and my client was super happy with the results. Her hair felt amazing. After we did the toner, we did a full in Salon Olaplex treatment, and her hair felt so buttery soft. And I mean, look at how beautiful the liquid Demi gave her hair, that shiny look. I mean, the gloss is amazing and her hair felt really great even with the toner on, and the root shade blends really well. It really did cancel out that warmth band there and just kind of blended it so well into her lighter blonde. Believe it or not, this color only took me about 2 hours to do, this full color correction, which is probably the fastest color correction I've ever done in my life, because usually color corrections take forever, but this one didn't. It was pretty simple, and I feel like with color corrections it's really important to not overthink it, because overthinking it can cause complications and sometimes you might be working harder than you actually should. I feel like this was such a simple thing, yet it really made a huge difference. But anyways, I hope you guys learned something new from this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will talk to you guys next week.